Good morning, everyone. My name is Umi Muawana Said, and I'm ocean economist. Thank you for the invitation and feel honored to be here with you all on the Maritime Society's Global Encounters, Seafarers, Trades, and Maritime Management. I think I will focus on the maritime trades, particularly spice and herbs, and how the current global trade has been utilized Indonesian herbs and spices, and that actually has moved the economy globally and nationally from us. So I'm from Brain. How do I click next? Okay, so these are the last decade of our trades with our neighboring countries for spice and herbs, and we see here we have like three main major players as our country of destinations of our export. This is source of our economy from the spices. We have the Netherlands, as we know. We have the US, and we have the Asian, Thailand, Vietnam, Singapore, and China. Particularly for the China, since 2020, we have like less or smaller amounts of demand from our spices, but after 2020, we have Asian-China free trade agreement, and it's rising up. So it is good that China has developed. They have more middle class, they have more restaurant. They do have their own spices, but they still need some from us, from Indonesia. But then for Thailand, Vietnam, Singapore has been our major importer, our major country of destination of our exports ever since. It got hit badly in 2020 because of the global lockdown that we have for COVID. And and also the US, we see here, is rather low, although it's a big economy with big population, but you know, we have different cultures in terms of using spices and herbs. Towards the end of my presentation, we will share our research with the Minister of Tourism and Economic Creatives last year on the Indonesian restaurants and the demand for spices from Indonesia. So this is the picture how our spices and its route has impacted the economy of these countries, the importing countries. They import from us, we export to them. So India increasing. You might be wondering, they have so many of their spices, but they still need some of us, and vice versa. So in the global trade, different processing will have different countries of targets, things like that. So next, so this is the same with last one, but in terms of value, our spices export reached up to 2 billion US dollars. That's a lot, 2 billion. So 2 billion is 2 juta in bahasa ya, but it's in US dollars. And if we check it here, what about our import? It turns out that not just us impacting their economy, but we also need some of them. See, the global trades is always needing some of the material and input and process or medium output from other countries. That's why it's interlinked between continents. If we see here, we have huge import from Madagascar. That means we need a lot of stuff from Madagascar, and it turned out it's close for our cigarette industry. So that's Madagascar, and then we have import other things from Vietnam and India. It's more on the process powder kind of spices. So if we see here, Vietnam is rising up. That shows that Vietnam has processed much of their spices into ready eat spices, ground, crushed cardamom, black pepper, cinnamon, and ginger, and everything else. So that means their industrialization are working ahead of us, it seems. That's why we keep saying why Indonesia industrialization is kind of behind Vietnam. So we see it here how the maritime trades, the spices trades, uh, gives color to these countries. So that's the Madagascar. The clothes, the quality of clothes are good, and it's good. It's mostly used for our cigarette industry. If you remember the couple or last week's statement, how much we get from the how much tax or the government revenue from tax from the cigarette industry is huge, and that shows here that it's a big industry for cigarettes. And of course, that's why we need clothes a lot from Madagascar. And now I would like to share some of our studies, our research, and how this. So Indonesia has this program called Spice Up the World. We want to spice up the world. We at the Economic Research Center was tasked to look at their economic performance because the government has a supporting program for the Spice Up of the World, so-called uh, pay financing program for the Indonesian restaurants in all over the world. So we do the economic analysis of these restaurants. We so a lot of so this is like 2 billion export for spices. If the program spice Indonesian spice up the world successful, then we can kind of spice up or introduce more widely Indonesian cuisines, Indonesian culinary, and export increase the export for spices globally. But that also needs some support for business financing. What we call it business here is the restaurants all over the world. So we have like so many restaurants. If we see here, that's only the registered one through our embassy. We have 1,000 something, 1,021. That's the registered at the Kemlu, at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And where are they? Europe is the largest, and Netherlands is the largest. Of course, we have long history with the Netherlands, and then Asia, and then Pacific, and then the next one is Middle East. So Middle East is keep increasing because we love to travel there for Umrah, and also many other Asian countries also love to travel there, and we see recently growth of restaurant, Asian and Indonesian restaurants in Middle East, not just Saudi Arabia. So and then from there we sample them, those restaurants, how their economic condition, where they source the spice, what is the challenges of the spices input, things like that. So we have like 96 responded. It does not mean that we, the researcher, went there to discuss with them. We use the Zoom to really take the data that we need. So what do we get here? So their performance indicator. So basically, we the so there. So if you see it here from the OMSA, from the asset, it's kind of medium, kind of business. Their sizes, and it's, if you can imagine, it's a restaurant with staff between 10 or less. Some of them more than 10, but not so much, and many of them are already had the business quite sometimes, and the source of funding is interesting. If we see here, many of them are from saving. That means what? That means it's a family or individual business. It's category small and medium enterprises here. So how the formal financier, like the banking system, can help them. That's what this study for. So and then what we asked them, do they need some support in terms of financing the business. So many of them answer between yes and no. I think 50-50, that because the rate, the interest rate is rather high overseas, and and uh, and also we ask them how do they get their inputs and their spices, and many of them from farmers or traders for the for the for the spices. This is for the exporters of the spices. So we have exporter of spices, we have the restaurants, and we provide recommendation of things that become the most challenge. One is the interest rate for the loan or for the financing, and then second is the ability of the exporters, the spices exporters, to cope and adapt and understand the requirements of the spices from the destined countries. That one they feel tough to meet, because the international export import always has rather strict standards. And what kind of financing do they need? Or mostly they need investment credit, or is it for capital, or is it for international show? So these are the things that they need, kind of assistance or programs that will be useful for them to expand the marketing, to expand the investment financing, and also capital investment. For capital investment mean expanding the restaurant, building, things like that. And this is the critical one, is that the tenor, or the years that they should return the loan, is crucial for the restaurant, for the business owner. So they don't want too long, but they don't want it too long. They want it shorter. Oh no, they want it shorter, which is 5 years, so that means their business are healthy, so they can return the money in on time, which is 5 years. That's their preference. Okay, so collateral is a key challenge as well for their financing need, and many of them restaurants overseas, they don't have their own building, they rent it, but if they need to get some more funding or financing from the regular bank, the formal sector, they don't have the collateral for the loan. That's something that we explain it to the government and to the LPE. LPE is Lembaga Pembiayaan Khusus, LPKI, under the Bank of Indonesia. These are the challenges if the government of Indonesia wants to provide assistance on the financing of the Indonesian restaurant. Why Indonesian restaurant? That's because they're related with our spices exports. So what is their expansion plan? So they want to build more on the partnership with many different business sector. So partnership is a key here. And what kind of subsidized interest from the government that they need. So they really need subsidized interest rate as part of the incentives for this business. So yeah, so this is very economics research. So I hope it is still okay. So with that, I think our summary is that the Indonesian spice export has its endurance since way back, since the colonial time until now, and it has indeed provided significant economic contribution. From the spice, it becomes a restaurant, and restaurant absorb labor, absorb other inputs and the output. So the spices economy still move the economy through Indonesian diaspora, which is in restaurants, but the trade still have challenges, including the competitors, the trade barriers for import regulation from the export regulation from the importing countries. For example, Madagascar lately provide new rules for the not Madagascar. I think the other countries who I think US put more rules on the incoming spices from Indonesia. That's where we see our export is kind of going down. That's even before the Trump tariff. That's 10 years ago. So those trade barriers provide trade challenges in our spice export. So market expansion is possible, increasing the potential export. If we see it here, China is part of our market expansion, and then if we and Middle East is also potential export for spice expansion, spice export expansion. We've talked with the representatives from embassy from the Middle East last time, and indeed the Indonesian restaurants are growing. So definitely they need some sort of uh, export of spices to the Middle East. I don't know through which hub, which country is it, Qatar or Dubai or other things. So with that, thank you. I hope this shed some lights, insights, information on how the maritime trade, the spice trade, has moved or has impacted the global and regional economy, including our own economy. Thank you very much, and apology if there is some mistaken from me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.